Now I'd like to introduce the session moderator, Emily Hall, who will lead today's discussion. Emily Hall is the director of the Sibling Support Project, a national program dedicated to serving the millions of brothers and sisters of people with special developmental and health concerns. Emily is a social worker, author, and trainer who provides workshops, presentations, and support groups for siblings and families. Herself a sibling and a board member of the National Sibling Leadership Network, Emily's written about her experiences in blogs, magazines, and books such as Thicker Than Water and the Sibling Survival Guide, indispensable information for adult brothers and sisters of people with disabilities. And now I'll turn it over to Emily. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for the Rare Sibling Experience, featuring a panel of exceptional siblings. My name is Emily Hall. I'm the director of the Sibling Support Project, and I am the lucky person who gets to moderate today's discussion with our outstanding siblings. Before we get started, I just really want to thank NORD for creating this space for siblings to shine. We at the Sibling Support Project feel that siblings have so much to contribute to their families and their communities, and their voices are really important. So I'm glad that we're all here together to hear some wonderful sibling voices and to really learn from the experiences of our panelists. A little bit of background about me. I am, as Katie said, thank you for the wonderful introduction. I am a social worker, I'm an author, I'm a trainer. I've written extensively on sibling experiences, including my own, but probably my greatest qualification for this job as director of the Sibling Support Project is that I'm also a sibling. I have an older brother, Peter, who is 2 years older than I am. He has an intellectual disability, and he's really at the center of many of my personal and professional decisions. So I'm grateful to him because ultimately he's the reason that I'm here with all of you today. There's a picture of Peter and myself at the White House in 2010. That was one of the really cool memories we have together. We got to go to the White House to experience the commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And we've had a lot of very cool memories together. And so I'm happy to share that one. Next slide, please. For those of you who are not familiar with the Sibling Support Project, we are located in Washington State, just outside of Seattle, Washington, and we are a proud program of Kindering, which is Washington State's largest early intervention provider. And we're very proud of the fact that, as Katie said, we're the first national program dedicated entirely to supporting brothers and sisters of people with special developmental, health, and mental health concerns. And we do our work in a few different ways. Next slide, please. To support siblings of all ages. We do that through education, right? So through some books that we have written for and largely by siblings. I'm really proud that many of our publications are written by siblings and written for siblings of all ages and people who care about siblings, parents, professionals, other family members. And we also really try to raise awareness of the importance of sibling experiences in the media. We also provide direct support to siblings across the country and around the world through our online communities for brothers and sisters, including SibNet, SibTeen, and Sib20. Those are 3 closed Facebook groups where siblings of different ages are wonderfully reflective and supportive in validating one another and sharing information and resources. So if you know of siblings of these different ages, adolescents, siblings in their 20s, and adult siblings, please do share that information about these communities. It's 24/7 peer support, which is pretty amazing. We are creating an app for the very young siblings, preschool age siblings and their parents, called Sib Time. You can learn more about that on our website. And we're probably best known for Sib Shops, and those are workshops for school-age children. There are more than 550 Sib Shops across the United States and around the world. And Sib Shops are places where young siblings can come and, first of all, have a ton of fun and also have opportunities to talk about their experiences as brothers and sisters of people with special developmental health and mental health concerns. Because we know that as we'll talk about in just a minute, siblings can really benefit from having that kind of peer support. Next slide, please. So what brings us all together today? Why is it important to support siblings? Why is there an entire organization called the Sibling Support Project dedicated entirely to supporting brothers and sisters? Well, the first reason is that sibling experiences parallel parent experiences. What we know from the research is that pretty much anything that we can say about the parent of a child with special needs, and I use the term special needs, it's a vastly imperfect term, but it saves a little time. Pretty much anything that we can say about being the parent of a child with special needs, we can put ditto marks on for siblings. We know from that research that siblings experience many, if not most, of the same issues as parents, as well as some unique concerns of their own. The second reason why is it important to support siblings, sibling issues are lifespan issues. These brothers and sisters will be in the lives of the person with disabilities or special health concerns for longer than anyone, certainly longer than any professional, and probably longer even than parents, right? This is a relationship that can easily exceed 65, 70, 75 years in some cases, which is a very long time. The third reason why should we support siblings? Siblings spend quantity time. And what I mean by that is that over the course of the lifespan, siblings spend a great deal of time together. They have a high levels of contact, particularly in the beginning years, the early years, and then again in those later years of life. So over the course of the lifespan, siblings spend a lot of time together. The fourth reason that we should be thinking about siblings and supporting siblings is that siblings spend quality time with one another. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'll tell you folks, I am a big fan of inclusion, okay? I'm a very big supporter of inclusive classrooms, for example. But no classmate in an inclusive classroom is going to have as great an impact on the social development of a child with special developmental or health concerns as that child's brother or sister, right? And then finally, what families around the world have known for years, what government is starting to recognize in service providers, is that siblings really are becoming the next generation of caregivers. That when parents are no longer able to care for their adult children with developmental and health concerns, it's really siblings who step in to ensure that they have the quality of life that they deserve. And so, for these 5 reasons, I think it's really important that we think about siblings at every turn, and that when we talk about family support and family-centered care, we really make sure that we include brothers and sisters in that definition of family, and that we provide siblings an opportunity not only to share their stories and to voice their hopes, their dreams, their concerns, their fears, but also that we give them a seat at the table, which they richly deserve. So that being said, I, again, am so grateful that all of you have joined us today to learn from our siblings, and I would love to introduce our panel. Our first panelist is Nathan Grant. He is the twin brother of Nick Grant, who has a rare genetic condition called mucopolysaccharidosis type 2, which is also known as Hunter syndrome. Nick has been Nathan's biggest inspiration. In 2015, Nathan created Siblings with a Mission, an international organization that supports siblings who have brothers and sisters with complex health conditions through online story columns, a resource database, and virtual and in-person events. In addition to Siblings with a Mission, Nathan also serves on the board of directors of the Sibling Leadership Network. From Cincinnati, Ohio, Nathan received his undergraduate degree in molecular and cellular biology from Harvard College and a master's in philosophy in health, medicine, and society at the University of Cambridge as a Harvard UK fellow. In the future, Nathan hopes to work in the field of medicine to help people with complex health conditions and their families. After Nathan, we'll hear from Josie Luna. She is a soon-to-be high school graduate. Woohoo! Yay, Josie! Her sister Angela is 22, and she is 1 out of 1,000 worldwide individuals who have Pitt-Hopkins. So very, very rare disorder. Angela was diagnosed at 18. And in Josie's free time, she enjoys photography and especially taking pictures of her dog, who I believe is a pug. And then finally, we'll hear from Caroline Monaco, who actually shares the same diagnosis of the rare disease isovaleric acidemia. as her older brother, Stephen. So they both share this diagnosis. It's a rare inborn error of metabolism detectable with newborn screening at birth. Due to lack of state screening for IVA when Stephen was born, his diagnosis came at age 3.5, causing a traumatic brain injury. Caroline was born a year after Stephen's crisis and was diagnosed before birth, thanks to knowledge through Stephen's experience. Stephen is now 23 years old and has traveled around with his mother with her rare disease advocacy. Caroline is 18 and a 2021 high school graduate. Yay, Caroline! She will go to the Northern Virginia Community College Veterinary Technology program in the fall, and in her spare time, she's an avid equestrian. So lots of animal lovers on our panel. And now I'm very, very happy to turn it over to Nathan Grant.
Thank you so much, Emily, for the wonderful introduction, and thank you, Nord, for putting together this really incredible event. So just a brief intro about me and my brother. This is my twin brother, Nick, and he has really honestly been the biggest inspiration for my life. So we are twins. He has a rare disease called MPS II, or Hunter syndrome, and he was diagnosed with his condition around the age of 3, and shortly after that, he received not one, but 2 bone marrow transplants to deliver the enzyme that he was missing due to his genetic disorder. And it has honestly been a really huge journey with trying to find medical treatments for my brother. The bone marrow transplant helped a lot with some of his physical symptoms, but he still suffers a lot from neurological decline and a lot of behavioral challenges. So our biggest thing right now is trying to just manage his care at home. He does need constant 24/7 care and assistance, which comes from all of us in the house, my parents, and from me as well. And that's honestly the biggest thing that I've experienced is something that Emily said was that a lot of times we think about family centered care, but for me, it's honestly felt more like parent centered care because of my brother, he's had to have help from all of us, including me. And so from a young age, I have been involved in a lot of caregiving, assisting with diaper changes and feeding and bathing, and today assisting with driving to medical places and appointments. So it is a lot, and it can be really hard to balance that with personal life and with school. You can see here in the middle picture that's when I was 3, and I was holding some of the tubes for Nick's medications when he was getting his transplant. But even though there are a lot of things involved with caregiving, we still love to have fun and spend time with each other. You can see in the bottom picture, we are going out for trick-or-treating for Halloween. We dressed up as cereal boxes. My brother loves cereal boxes. His favorite is Fruit Loops and Cheerios. So he was Cheerios and I was Fruit Loops. He also loves the color red, so it was just a perfect combination. And then outside of trick-or-treating, we also love just to spend time together outside going for walks. He also loves music. I sing to him. We do some music therapy at home together, and just really spending time with each other, eating, going out to restaurants. He's my closest friend, and we've had a really close relationship, which I'm really, really grateful for. And he has been also my biggest inspiration for my schooling and for my education. I am really interested in working in medicine to try to find treatments for people like my brother because of my experiences managing and helping him with his care and just living with him. Next slide, please. And outside of helping my brother at home and outside of school, I also have become really involved in advocacy. I run an organization called Siblings with a Mission, and we're an international group that helps support siblings who have brothers and sisters with a variety of health conditions, including rare diseases. That's been one of our main priorities, actually, just from my experiences with a sibling who has a rare disease. We have an online story column where we connect with other siblings through sharing stories, and we also do in-person and virtual events. And coming up shortly here in July, we will be doing our 5th virtual sibling symposium with Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and the information is there on the screen, but I'm happy to talk more about this as well in the chat or during the conference. And next slide, please. Next, we're going to hear from our next sibling, Josie.
Hi everyone, I'm Josie. In the picture is my sister Angela. So Angela has a rare and severe form of autism called Pitt Hopkins. And we actually didn't get her diagnosed until she was 18, and then when she was diagnosed, it was 500 people worldwide, but now it's up to 1,000, but still pretty rare. We learned through gene sequencing testing. That's pretty fun to flex on my biology teachers that I have all the knowledge of that. Angela just graduated last year, and then I am soon to be graduated with high school and then on to college to study digital communications. You can see the picture of our pug. That's our pug Mateo. He's super good with Angela, like just the perfect dog to have around, like wheelchairs and medical equipment, and her petting him. He's just so patient. My favorite pug. um, Angela likes she likes the wind and bubbles and birds and laughing at me because I'm scared of birds. She loves to just laugh at me for it. The picture of me and her in an airplane, that was the first conference that we went to for Pitt Hopkins. It was in Minnesota in 2017, so my freshman year. Um, and I spoke on the sibling panel there, and it was just kind of random. I just said, okay, I can do this, sure, just kind of went for it, and I was able to meet other siblings, and that was really cool. Before she was diagnosed with Pitt Hopkins, we thought that she had Angelman syndrome. So now that I'm 18, I can be a board member on the Angelman Pacific Northwest Angelman Syndrome Board, or Northwest because we changed the name. So now I'm a board member, and I've been helping with golf tournaments and walks and fundraisers for basically since I was little. I've been really super fortunate to have like people around me and in my state and in like just in a couple cities over, because that's we just got extremely lucky with that. So I've always had like a second family, and that's cool and very just pure luck. So we're very fortunate. Next slide, please. That's us on a boat with my mom, dad, and my sister. She loves boats and the wind. Her face doesn't say it, but she was having a good old time. We were at a camp in Yakima, Camp Primetime, for families with severely ill or disabled children. And that's been a great opportunity to go and have some fun, and it's all accessible. And I've just been really blessed with a bunch of opportunities. I've been sharing and educating and bringing awareness to my sister since I was in first grade. Pretty much everyone I went to school with, from elementary to when I left middle school, has heard my spiel 100 times. I got in middle school, I did spread the word to end the word, like a page petition. Got 150 signatures and good feedback. And then throughout high school too, I've been educating and printing out each Pitt Hopkins Day, printing out things to give to my teachers and posting about it. So all my friends, everyone who went to school with me already knows the whole spiel. But yeah, and now on to Caroline.
Hi, my name is Caroline, and I'm 18 years old, and in the pictures and next to me, it's my brother Steven, my older brother. We both have the same rare disorder called isovaleric acidemia, and at the time that he was born, it was not being screened for, so he did not get diagnosed till 3.5 when he was put in a coma, and it left him severely disabled. But then I was diagnosed with it before I was even born, so they were able to catch it and take care of me as soon as I came out. But growing up, I was able to mature more at a young age and knowing at such a young age, I know more things medically than most kids do and know how to do a lot of things. Steve and I go to doctor's appointments together, and even though we have the same disorder, it's still two different things because we're different in ways. Steven has been able to do a lot of things that we didn't think we'd be able to. Like, we've left the country, we've gone on a big family cruise, and he absolutely loved it. He loved sitting out, and just when we were out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, of course it was nerve wracking because we were in the middle of nowhere, but we were able to do it, and really enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. But we also do a big we started when Steven turned 18, a big fundraiser. It's a golf tournament, and over the years it has just built and built and built, and we've been able to raise close to $100,000 for Children's National. And actually the last one we had, we were able to go over 100,000. And so it's just continuing to grow more and more. And the support that we're able to get with it is just great because it's people from all over the country are supporting it. But Steven has helped me in a lot of ways learn different things and help mature and just know a lot of things that most people don't know. There's a lot of my friends ask me all the time, how do you do certain things like this? But it's, because they don't know how to do it, but I do because he's helped me as I've gotten older. But I'm watching my mom advocate for all of this and help save other kids' lives and everything because of Steven has just been great, and Steven has helped save so many lives. And yeah, it's been great. So.
Well, thank you all so much for your introductions. And we, of course, want to welcome Steven, who's there, and Mom is there with you, right? Welcome, guys. It's great to have you with us.
Hi. Yes.
Hello.
Great to be here. He's listening. Steven's nonverbal, but he takes everything in. He's listening, and he's
very much with us.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we're happy to have him. Thank you. I'd love to open up our conversation with a first question about information. Because we know a part of the work that we do, we understand the importance of sharing information and siblings having information about their brothers and sisters' diagnoses. So I'm curious how all of you learned about your brothers and sisters' diagnoses. Do you want to start that, Nathan? Do you remember, if you think back to childhood, how did you learn about Nick's diagnosis? You guys are twins, right? So what was that process like for you?
Yeah, so Nick was diagnosed when he was around the age of 3. And so it was a while ago. We were very young. Honestly, the biggest thing I just remembered was that he was very sick. When I was around that age of 3, I just knew he had to go to the doctor a lot. One of the things I was very confused about was why my parents were always at the doctor's. I actually had to stay with my grandparents at a hotel by the hospital while he was receiving his transplant for several months. And honestly, I don't think it was until maybe like early grade school, first, second grade, when my parents started really explaining the disease. They just said that he has honestly more challenges than other people, and that we just need to help him a little bit more than I might need help with. And I think just through the years, as I started going through school, learning about genes and DNA, I got a better understanding of his disorder because it is a genetic disease. And the most helpful thing really was just looking up online. My parents gave me information from the MPS Society that explained the disorder in an age appropriate way. And honestly, even today, I'm still learning about it. It's just been a continual process to learn. But as I've grown up, just giving more and more information as I was ready was what was helpful.
Great, thanks, Nathan. Josie, do you want to take this question? How did you learn about Angela's? It sounds like you guys really thought you had one diagnosis, figured out,
Yeah.
and then things kind of turned. So do you want to talk about early on how you came to that first, how you remember kind of making sense of your sister's diagnosis when you were younger?
Yeah, it's kind of weird going from like memorizing one thing and then at 13 be like, forget all that. It's this. When I was younger, I knew Angela was different. She's my normal, so I was like, okay, this is my normal. Why are people being so weird about it when we go out? Um, it's kind of sad. When I was 7, I was at a camp, and this one girl saw my sister, she was young too, and she said, "Why is your sister so stupid and act like that?" That's a way to get a camp counselor to freak out. uh, so that kind of was like, oh, people are gonna be treating her as an outsider. So then I was like, well, just laugh it off. And then I've always been uh, in the Angelman group. So I've always had plenty of people like me and other siblings. Um, sorry, I'm trying to think. So to figure out she had Pitt Hopkins, we had to do gene sequencing, and at first we talked about it, and I just thought it was my mom and dad and Angela having to get blood drawn for it, and then they needed me to get blood drawn, and I was scared of needles, so I was like freaking out, and then on the way back, my mom said in a Dracula voice, "Thank you for letting them suck your blood," and then we went and got Sonic. And then later, like, oh my gosh, it was like a stack of paper this big in an envelope with all of our genetics just mapped out. And then I was like, hey, what is this big thing in our car? And we were actually in the van going to Costco. And then my mom was like, well, she has Pitt Hopkins. And then I remember I cried. I'm not for sure why I did. I just did. I guess that was my first response. And then we just carried on and went to Costco and got free samples. So it's not like a really traditional thing, I guess. It's just kind
Yeah,
of
you had
like
yourself a good cry and then went to Costco. I mean,
free
that happens.
samples.
And Josie, how old were you when that happened? Do you remember?
13.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love how you first I love how you say that was my normal. I mean, my family is my normal, right? And I remember someone once said to me, normal is a setting on a washing machine, and I really like that because what is normal even? I don't even know what that word
Exactly.
means. But it's so interesting because, we hear that a lot that we don't like recognize that there's something like so different about our brothers and sisters until we kind of see the reactions of other people. And sometimes, other kids can ask questions in not the nicest of ways. And
Yeah.
that's what happened to you.
It was interesting to watch the camp counselors like freak out about it. I felt bad for them more than I did myself because I was like, well, my sister's not dumb. Like I know she's different, but whatever to this girl. I felt bad. Like I don't know, I just feel it was like I had a way different thing of even in the Pitt Hopkins group, I'm one of the only younger siblings and we didn't get her diagnosed till I was 13. So it's just kind of like I don't know. I had all the Angelman information memorized, like I could recite it like that. But with the Pitt Hopkins stuff, I had to like relearn more, and um, and then we found that there is another girl with Pitt Hopkins in Italy that looks exactly like my sister. So I was like, this makes more sense, like the facial features, and yeah, it's kind of interesting just overall, and I don't know, not thankfully not as heavy to like realize and learn, because I don't know, we just take things with a laugh and get through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, humor can go a long way, can't it? And you also said something really important, that it sounds like you've always had a really big support community and you have not necessarily felt alone, and that that's been really helpful for you.
I've been, oops, a flower dropped on me. I have been so fortunate and so just like lucky to have people in Washington and then in Oregon, and like grow up around them and see them and just have one big tight knit family, because without them I don't really know how we would have gone through this. And we all met through the person, so my sister, like they met at a hospital and stuff. It's like, what are the odds? Just sitting there and be like, hey, does your kid have Angelman syndrome? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that community can be so important. Thank you, Josie. And Caroline, how about you? Do you remember how you learned about not only, I guess, your brother's diagnosis, but your own? I mean, I wonder if those conversations were connected.
Well, since he was, already had his crisis when I was already born, I kind of, just grew up with all of that and just learning about it. And the older I got, the more I was able to do and help out. And my parents, and family always had me help out with doing small things. But the older I got, the more I was able to do. And since I was born, I would always go to doctor's appointments. We'd always go together. So it wasn't really different to me. But the older I'm getting, the more I'm able to learn about it and figure more out. But I was able to just know a lot of things from such a young age, since everything had already happened with him before I was born. So.
And it sounds like your parents are pretty open in talking with you, that you guys are
Oh yeah, most
about
definitely.
communicating.
Especially since we still go to doctor's appointments together, so I hear everything and know a lot of things. And my whole family, we're all pretty open about everything. So, and the more we learn, the better it is for us.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that expression that knowledge is power, information is power, something like that. So great. Thank you for sharing. My next question is thinking back, or maybe, and maybe even not so distant past, maybe back to yesterday or this morning, or maybe back to early childhood. Um, did your siblings' illness ever cause any special problems for you when you think about it? And examples might include maybe worrying about your siblings' health and well-being, difficulty or stress, or feeling maybe isolated at school, right, among peers, navigating responsibilities, maybe navigating relationships with peers, maybe balancing your own needs and the needs of your brother or sister, your own needs as a human being, and as a caregiver, right? Who's helping to support your brother or sister. So who wants to speak to that, about maybe some challenges you've experienced as a sibling of someone with a rare disorder?
Yes, I mean, Emily, all of that. I have experienced challenges with caregiving. It's constant. My brother needs help throughout the day, and just because of how much intensity there is, all of us, my parents and me, both are involved in caregiving. And I know my parents don't want to feel like they need me to caregive. I just see that there's just so much needs um, with how intense, like my brother's constant needs for medications and for food preparation. And so I just try to help as much as I can, but that's really challenging sometimes to balance with right now getting my master's that's online as well. And also thinking ahead of like getting a job and where I want to be for that job, if I want to be close at home because my brother is here, or if I will potentially have to go far away because that's where the jobs are available. These are all considerations. I think my biggest thing has always been worry about my brother. There's been a lot of worry about his health. It's a progressive degenerative disease, so um, he has and also is expected to just get worse with his health symptoms. So that has been a big worry for me, and that's one of the reasons why I really try to go to medical appointments whenever he has them, so I can learn about his symptoms, how I can help provide care, and also what to expect in the future. And then on top of worrying about health, I would also say the second biggest thing is worrying about his future care, where he's going to be. Right now, because of his behavioral challenges, it's really hard for my parents who are aging to manage his care, which is another reason why I try to help when I can, but it's not sustainable. And so that's something we have to consider is where will he go to live as my parents get older and as he gets older, where is there, it's very hard to find places that have medical and behavioral support. And so that's something that is a constant worry and a constant thing we're advocating for. And I would also just say there are sometimes difficulties with friends. Growing up, I was really worried about bringing my brother or bringing a friend home to my house because they wouldn't know what was wrong with my brother and his behaviors, and it'd be really hard to explain it. But I do think by being connected with groups like the MPS Society, learning how to explain MPS, that's been helpful for me to provide that information to my peers. So that's one of the things, knowledge is power, is definitely true there, because it's been helpful for having more social relationships because I can share that information.
Yeah, I'm sure. Even for like younger kids, to be able to respond as Josie did, if someone's asking a question or saying something that's not very kind, to be able to say, well, actually, my sibling has this and this is what it means, and have a good day, like just to kind of end that conversation. Nathan, you touched upon so many important concerns that I just have to say are so, so common among siblings. Future concerns, concerns about, managing your own life and moving forward in your own life while still wanting to support your sibling, and how do you juggle all those things? The concerns about friends and, maybe potentially being embarrassed by your sibling and then maybe feeling guilty about that. Let's not forget the guilt that many of us siblings experience. That's all so commonly part of the sibling experience. So thank you for sharing that. And last but not least, Caroline, do you want to talk about maybe some challenges that you experienced growing up?
There's always challenges every day because, always with medications, always making sure he and I both get them at the right time. Who gives it to them, make sure you give them the right amount and everything. And with food, same thing. But there's always a challenge of, watching to see if there's something wrong because he's nonverbal and everything. So if there's something wrong, what do you do? Or when do you take him to the hospital and whatnot? So there's always those challenges. But friend wise, I never had an issue. If a friend came over and they asked, I just explain it. I wouldn't go into detail. I just quickly explain it, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay," But with that, I never had any issues. But there is always challenges, and you thinking ahead. It's like, what is next year going to be like? Where are we going to be next year? So there is always those things going on.
Thank you all for sharing and being so honest about that. I want to flip the switch though, and I want to talk about some of the good stuff, right? One thing that we know from all of our work with siblings is that the sibling experience is not all terrible and not all wonderful. It's kind of all of the above, like at any given time. And so I would love to invite you to share some of the good things, some of the opportunities, some of the silver linings that you guys have experienced as siblings. Maybe a special bond that you share with your sibling, maybe some advocacy skills. I think we definitely have some advocates here on the screen with us. We often say siblings are natural born advocates, right? Or maybe more tolerance for difference and diversity, appreciation for diversity. We hear that a lot from siblings. So, or any other kind of opportunities you feel sort of came your way as a sibling.
I'd say there's definitely been positives, a lot of positives actually. I think one of the biggest things is I've learned a lot of patience, and I've learned to really put myself in other people's shoes, because my brother can't talk. So he can't tell us exactly with verbal language what he wants. He can tell us through some behaviors, but he can't tell us what he needs and if he's in pain or if he's uncomfortable. And so really growing up with him, I've really learned to try to put myself in other people's shoes and see how they feel with any situation. And I think just from that, my brother has really taught me to be compassionate, understanding of others. And I really try whenever I can to just try to help other people, just because I've learned to have to be there to help my brother because of some of his challenges. And I do think, he really is my closest friend. Even though there are a lot of caregiving and responsibilities, it makes my day whenever I see him smile and laugh. And sometimes I feel like I can get stressed out a lot with school or with work, and just seeing him happy, even though he has all these symptoms, just really shows me that it's not worth being stressed out about. Just enjoy every moment that you can with the people that you have in your life. And then also on top of that, my brother has given me so many opportunities to be an advocate, to be a leader through my Siblings with a Mission advocacy group, and with being a part of the Sibling Leadership Network. And he's also inspired my career path. I wouldn't be studying and working in medicine and healthcare if it wasn't for my brother. And I'm just grateful that I've had so many of these opportunities just by having someone like Nick in my life.
Thank you, Nathan. So beautifully stated. I always shared that same feeling. I always felt like Peter was my biggest cheerleader, my biggest fan. And no matter what was happening in my life, I could always connect with Peter and, kind of remember what's really important. So thank you for sharing all of that. Josie, how about you? What about the good stuff that's come your way as a result of being Angela's sister?
I get to do this. This is pretty crazy and very unlike me because I'm usually pretty quiet. It's like there's been a lot of funny moments to come out of it, and like it's made me a lot more mature than my peers and have to grow up faster, which I'm thankful for. Even though I can't relate to my peers a lot, I'm still thankful to be more mature. It's made me really educated medically about all sorts of things. Just need documents and 5 hours of YouTube videos and feel pretty knowledged. It's given me the Angelman group. That's the best thing I could have ever imagined. Just people to go through the thick and thin and know exactly. It gave me the opportunity to join SIB team and have people who really get me, and I don't have to like put up a filter of, oh, everything's fine and dandy. I can be real and get like just know that there are people on this other side of the screen that get me and aren't gonna say, oh, you're a bad person for having a bad day. It's definitely made me super optimistic because I'm just a stupidly optimistic person of there's always more. It has to get better than this. There's like it's not just staying here. It's like things have to get better. I am the only one that she'll smile for when I hug her. And so that makes me feel good because everyone else should just keep a straight face. And there's been a lot of laughs and like one of the negative things is when she won't sleep and deprive us of sleep. But a good thing is like getting to laugh about things I do sleep deprived and just like joke about stuff and just kind of overall just be more mature and get these wild opportunities that are way bigger than myself, because I'm a really quiet person. Like I don't this is something way bigger than I ever like would have thought to do. And so just like doing stuff a lot.
Yeah,
Because
thank you so much, Josie. I love how you spoke about just, being able to be part of these amazing communities. And, I'm sure that one of the reasons that Nord puts together this conference is to bring together families as a big community and hopefully nurture some of those bonds that are so important to all of us, like all of us family members who have a loved one with a disability or a rare disease. So important to have other people who are walking a similar path, right? And to have that validation and support. And you talk about the maturity and just having such a different perspective, right? That insight about what's really important in life is really, really great. And having these really cool opportunities to do stuff like this and meet all these great people from different places I agree, it's pretty cool. Caroline, what about you? What are some of your silver linings?
There's a lot of positives. But one of the coolest things we've been able to do is the golf tournament, the big fundraiser. To see how much it's grown and how many people can come together and support and raise so much for this cause and for Children's Hospital and everything. And being able to go around and travel and for conferences and meet so many new people and a lot of people that have the same disorder and everything. Some, because of all this and everything we do for children and everything, we've been able to meet some celebrities and stuff. So there's always good that comes out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you said that you guys raised almost $100,000. Is that right?
We've actually, the last one we had, we were able to raise more, but
Wow.
in total, we've raised well over 100,000 from
That's
all years.
amazing.
$250,000 actually.
That's incredible. Just to think about bringing together people around a cause that is so important to you and so near and dear to your heart. It's incredible. Probably feels a little bit like, when Josie has a hug from Angela and she smiles and she's like, I'm the only one who gets that smile. It's just that same gratification of being able to, to appreciate like the good things that come from the situation. Thanks for sharing that. Two more questions for you. The first one is about the future, and some of you guys have already talked about the future a little bit, but what comes to mind when you think about the future, when you think about your future and your siblings' future? Nathan, we'll just keep going in this order?
So it's a hard question. Every day our plans for the future do change as we are honestly constantly advocating with the state to try to find future care and residential support services for my brother. So it's constantly in flux. And also with gene therapy and new clinical trials, there's a lot of hope for potentially finding treatments and maybe even a cure for some of the neurological side components of my brother's disease. But if it was possible, I really just hope the future would be a place where my brother is happy. I don't want to see him have a lot of pain or a lot of behavioral challenges. I want him to be in a place where he is stable and secure, somewhere where my parents don't have to worry about who's going to take care of him. For me, also, my career plans are also still in flux, but I want to be involved as much as I can with my brother. I have always been involved and helped him throughout my life, but I see it possibly me being even more involved as much as I can when as we age. I want to still be able to check in on him and advocate for him and help him and make sure he's receiving the best care possible. It's just always going to be constant trying to find services and resources, but there's a lot of hope with a lot of medicine and advocacy going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about, you talked about sort of some of the question marks around your own future and your own decisions about career and where that might take you. Thoughts about how that could intersect with the care of your brother?
My plans are to go to medical school next and go on to work in medicine. I don't know exactly where I will be heading, but I really, really want to do something in neurology and with children because of just the severe issues that I've seen with my brother's disease in his care. So that's something that has been my biggest inspiration. And ultimately, I would like to be close to Nick, wherever that will be. I do think he's going to still stay in Ohio. We're currently in Ohio, just because of the way his services are set up right now with funding and where he's receiving help. So I do think I'll be very close to him in the future with whatever career path I am in.
Thank you, Nathan. Josie, how about you? When you look into the crystal ball and think about the future, your future and Angela's future, what do you see?
Not fully sure. Me and my mom want to start up a sib shop because the one I went to, like, wasn't, I don't know, something happened and it stopped, but it was really good. I want to use my writing skills to publish books about it and, like, just a, like, advice book. Hopefully be more involved in the Pitt Hopkins Family Foundation stuff. Become a fiercer advocate like my mom. And I don't know, it's weird because as like me and my peers are graduating, I look around and my mind goes to who's going to be the one with the special needs kid or with the kid who's different and like helping them and stuff. So I don't know, that's just kind of a weird, maybe it's just a me thing who thinks of that, but so I just kind of think about who it'll be, not that I wish or want on anyone, but like being able to help people in the future and just be happy and fight for my sister and just be a fierce advocate because you can't, nothing comes easy. So I gotta,
Right.
yeah, I just try to not think about the future much and just take it day by day because if I think too far ahead, I get anxious and then so I just take it by the day, honestly. Not the
Day by
best
day.
person to
That-
ask for the future plans and envisionment. So
yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with taking it day by day and putting one foot in front of the other.
mhm.
Thank you, Josie. Caroline, what about you?
You know, the future, as Josie said, you know, take it day by day because you just don't know. Like, you don't know where you'll be in a year from now or 6 months from now. You never know. But, you know, part of the reason why I'm going to the community college is because I'll still be at home. I'll be able to be here and help because you don't know how much my brothers will be able to be around as they're getting older and, you know, focusing on their jobs and everything. So, yeah, and just the older I get to be more involved with it all. But yeah, just honestly, just take it day by day.
So I would just love to ask you to share one piece of advice with these folks. What is one thing that you think parents and professionals should remember about siblings and people who want to help siblings and support siblings? What's one piece of advice you would give them to kind of keep in their back pocket? We'll start with Nathan.
I would say that it's very, very important, whatever you do, to try to acknowledge siblings and their experiences. Siblings come in all shapes and forms. I sometimes say, if you know one sibling, you just know one sibling. So it's really important just to, when you see a sibling that you're working with, like you're in a healthcare practice, or if you're a parent or family member of a sibling, just really try to ask them how they feel. What is it like in your world? What is going on in your mind? A lot of the times, just because I've been talking a lot today, but caregiving is something that's been really big for me. And sometimes I really don't want to caregive anymore because it can be very time consuming. But I also know it's really essential to my brother's health. So what will be helpful is just acknowledging that as a sibling at all ages, I am involved in care. Siblings are caregivers. So when you are having medical conversations or making care plans, really do involve the siblings because they're going to be there now and also in the future. Siblings really do have the longest relationships of their lives together. So I would just say really acknowledge the siblings, recognize their experiences, and then support them, give them resources like the Sibling Support Project and the other resources we've shared today at NORD and other groups. Just give them the information and the opportunities to connect because that's just going to be really impactful in the life of a sibling.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Josie, how about you? Some words of wisdom for parents and professionals watching this?
I would say just check on your normal kids' mental health. If they're showing signs of depression, of anxiety, or any other mental health struggles, mental illness, like talk to them about it, have those hard conversations, and get them help because there's a lot of pressure to be the normal one, the healthy one, the non like appointment like I don't know what I'm trying to get out without sounding stupid. Like be the normal.
A lot of pressure to be the one that's not
that has it all together.
Problems, right? That's
Yeah.
got it all together. That doesn't need attention or support or right.
Yeah. So the pressure, of like guilt and internal pressure, could be getting to them and prevent them from getting help. And mental health is so important. And being a sibling makes it like adds another layer to like just the whole thing because you have a lot on your plate and a lot more than your peers do. So just be aware of signs and have hard conversations and get help and you can get through and that'll be the best way to help. One of the best ways.
Thank you, Josie. Thanks for pointing that out. And you started by saying if the sibling is showing any signs of maybe some mental health concerns, and then went on to say, well, and we might not always see those signs because we siblings work really hard to be really a-okay on the surface and to be holding it all together and to be the person that others can rely on. But part of being a human being is that life is not always perfect and life is not always even great. We all have our days. And I love the way you said, I can just go to Sib-Teen and be honest and have no filter. And nobody will think I'm a bad person for having a bad day. I just love the way you said that. It's so, so true. Because the truth is, like, part of being a human being is you're going to have a bad day every now and then. And we siblings need that support too. So thank you so much, Josie. And our last but not least comment from Caroline, words of wisdom for parents and professionals who really want to help and support siblings. What would you say to them?
Just like to always, ask them how do they want to help? How do they want to be involved in everything? What do they want to know? Because some siblings might not step up and ask that, so they have to ask that themselves. And always remember, to give them attention, give them the attention that they need to, and not just leave them out of everything. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. So thank you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that anyone would like to share as we close our panel? Anything else that you wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to say?
I think something
Parting words of wisdom?
I think something important that sounds like so cliche is it does get better. It can be really bad for a while, but it does get better. It has to. There's so much more than where you're sitting right now. There's so much more after you get off the roller coaster. We call Pitt Hopkins a roller coaster because sometimes it goes up and then just straight down for a while. So like the ride will stop and you'll be let off the cart and you'll get better. It just gets better. Which sounds so cliche and like basic to say, but it's true because I mean, we've gone from here to straight down and come back up again. Yeah.
Acknowledge.
Thanks, Josie. Kind of like life, right? Ups and downs, and eventually you can get off the ride for a little bit, maybe grab some cotton candy, enjoy the view, and then, gear up for whatever life will throw our way next. Yeah, thank you.